Hey, welcome back to Frank's Model Works. I'm Frank. Spent the last week working in Adobe Illustrator trying to come up with a logo. Trying to learn how to edit videos. It's not going well. And trying to pick out my final colors that are going to be going on to this 2010 Mustang GT. Like I said in the first video, I am definitely going to be using Splash Paint's Kona Blue. That is a beautiful color for a Mustang. It's a beautiful color for any car, but on a Mustang, it just looks spectacular. For the GT stripe, that comes in decal form in the kit, but I would prefer to paint it. I'm going to be using Splash Paint's Ingot Silver, which is also a Ford color. I'm probably going to be adding a red stripe that outlines the silver GT stripe, just as an added touch, like a little bit of variation, just to make it more visually appealing. And I don't know if I'm going to stick with this bright of a red. I might tone it down a little bit with another old Mustang color called Royal Maroon. Again, all from Splash Paints. What I like to do when I'm going to be doing a several color scheme on a model is I like to make one of these paint chips. This is just a piece of, I think it's 0.20. We interrupt this mediocre video to let you know that the thing that Frank just said, 0.2 inches, is incorrect. It's actually 0.02 of an inch, 0.020 inches thick. We regret this error and remind you, Frank is an idiot. Also, Bayshore Hobbies t-shirt. Polystyrene, sheet styrene. I've gone ahead and primed it, taped it to a popsicle stick, and I primed it with Splash Paint's light gray surfacer, which is what's also on the body of the model already. So it serves a couple of purposes. Number one, you could test compatibility of the materials you're going to be using. Generally, I only use paints that are made for models, that are formulated to go on polystyrene or resin and stuff like that. I don't use hardware store spray paints. I generally use modeling specific materials. So I know that they're generally not going to craze the plastic, but different brands of paint and different types of paint can craze each other. So just to test out what I'm going to be using, I'll use one of these paint chips. What I'll also do is, I might not like some of the effects that I'm getting. One of the things I'm going to be doing with this paint job is I'm going to be using 2K clear like I usually do, but I'm going to be adding pigment to it. Now, I don't know if that's going to be something in the end that I'm going to like the looks of. So I'd rather do it on a test piece first than commit to it, especially 2K clear onto a model car. You're never getting that off. I mean, you could sand it. That's basically the only way you're going to get that off. So I'd rather do it on here first in order to make sure that I like what I'm looking at. Adding pigment tends to be, it's a nice way to add an extra little something to the car. But it could go horribly wrong very quickly. I've learned that the hard way, especially doing it directly onto the model. Don't experiment on your project. This, I think I got a package of something like 40 sheets, and they're 16 by 12 inches. I think it was $6, and it's enough of these 4x4 paint squares to last me for a very long time. So it's worth it in the end. Kits are getting expensive. You could pay $30, $40 for a kit for it, and you don't want to be dunking these things into degreaser to get the paint off. And with lacquers and 2K clear, that's a different story. It's a lot harder to get those off. So it might be a good idea for you to test first before you commit to something and lay it down on a model. Now these pigments themselves, I bought them on Amazon from the on the recommendation of Don Yost, very well-known modeler here in the Northeast, and unfortunately we lost him over the summer. He was a really nice man, and the advice he's given me has brought what I try to do in modeling so much further than I ever think I would ever have gotten without him. And he's truly going to be missed, and his influence is sorely going to be missed by me, that's for sure. But on his recommendation, watching his videos, I did buy this. It's by a company called Pearl-X. You buy a package of these things, there's like 40 of them in the package of this size, and each one of these things, like for a car body, you're going to be using the spoon part of a paint stirrer to spoon that out and drop that into your clear, and that's going to be more than enough for the body that you're painting. So these things are literally going to last you a lifetime. And the pigments themselves, the metallic flake in them, very tight, very small. You know, it's not like grade school glitter, which has its places. Just I don't think that it's good for this application on this particular car. So, but I'm not sure as to what color I want to go with. I'm leaning between interference blue, which is almost like a pearl. Doesn't look blue, but like you could see it when the light hits it in a certain way. And then this one, which is true blue. And we'll see. That's what this is for. And what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down the ingot silver on this. Okay, because we know the ingot silver is going to make it onto the model. It's going to happen, so we're going to paint that first. I'm also going to put the ingot silver onto the body pieces that are going to have the GT stripe. So that's the hood, the front fascia, the roof, the trunk, and the rear fascia. So we're going to get that in ingot silver. That's going to be staying that color, and then I'll paint the Kona blue over it after I mask off the stripes. Once we do that, we'll mask off and we'll divide this up. You know, get the red stripe in there, see if it looks good with just this red paint, or maybe deepened a little bit with the maroon. We'll see what happens. And then we'll do one with the interference blue and one with the true blue. And then we'll take it from there and see what happens. Now, just working on some logos here in Adobe Illustrator, which is, it's hard to learn. It's no joke. I had done some stuff in the past and I completely forgot most of it, and in the interim the program itself has totally changed, so I'm having to relearn it again. But like and subscribe, comment, share. Wonder how that got there. Anyway, I did bring up a couple of images on Google of a Kona blue. Look at that blue. That is a sick blue for a Mustang. Let's see where I can get that. Nope, that's bringing me right to YouTube. Let's not do that. So I don't think I can get this any bigger. But, and then for ingot silver, you know, everybody's seen the silver that Ford uses on its vehicles. It's they might change the name over time, but it's basically the same hue. Now for the interior, I had said that I was going to use the red scheme that's more commonly seen in convertibles, and that is what I was talking about. I just like the way this looks. It's not stock. I don't think it was available in available color in 2010, looking as far as I could tell. But I like the look enough where, and it's rational enough. You know, you could, a car that's from 2010, there's probably enough of them in a junkyard where you could find a convertible, get the interior pieces out of it and add it to your coupe. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm going for. You hear my dog barking and my ring just went off? It's a big box of models that just got delivered. Should I go up there? No, I'm gonna continue filming. So, this red it's not just a red. It's a cool shifting of a brownish red. And I'm looking through my paints that I have, and I had Gaia Notes. This is called Natural Brown. It's close, but not really. It's a little too warm, and it's too saturated, and it shifts more towards brown than I really want it to be. I think the best match in my paint collection, without having to do a custom mix, which I'll avoid if I can, is the Tamiya Lacquer Paint LP18 Dull Red, which is very close up against the screen. And if I have to shift it all, I think I might have to desaturate it, but coolly desaturate it. So I'd add like a light gray to it. If I wanted to make it a warmer but lighter red, I would add like tan or a yellowish tan, desert yellow, something like that. Or where's the Tamiya? Tamiya's XF57 Buff is a good way to shift a red to a warmer but lighter red. You can't just add white to red; it turns it pink. And generally, you know, like you don't see a lot of cars with pink interiors, but probably look nice. So that's how that goes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera over to where my paint booth is. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go upstairs and get my models. And then now I can make another video. I have stuff that I can make another video. Excellent. So I'm going to set that up and I'll meet you in a second. Okay, we're over at the spray booth. I already wiped everything down with a tack cloth. It's basically cheesecloth that has like a wax inside of it. Pulls dust, like the larger pieces of dust, out of the air. Where my workshop is, in my basement, there's a dryer, and this is the dust nexus of the universe. So whenever I paint anything, especially if it's gloss, it looks like I rolled it in breadcrumbs. That's how bad it is down here. So I try to mitigate as much as possible by cleaning constantly. It's just, it is what it is. So, you know, I'm going to get dust in the paint. The ingot silver, the splash paints are base coats, so they go on and they dry to a matte finish anyway. So, you know, they're a little bit more forgiving. They don't really attract too much dust. I really like this paint. It's really, really good paint. So I'm going to turn the compressor and the fan on now. You're not going to be able to hear my beautiful voice for a little bit, and hopefully we'll get some good results. Alrighty, let's go. if any of you can hear me now over the sound of the compressor and the fan, I hope you can't. But I just want you to know, I appreciate you, subscribing to the channel and everything and watching my videos. But you should know, and I'm glad you probably can't hear me, I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing. But anyway, thankfully you can't hear any of this. All right, here goes nothing. All right, I got the painting done. Gonna do a quick sidebar about the airbrushes that I use the most. I want to later on at some point do a more in-depth standalone video about airbrushes and their uses in scale modeling, but this is just going to be a quick and dirty overview. You, that one with the hair in the face. Down in the comments of this video and all the other videos that I release until I make the full standalone airbrush video, just remind me I got to do the airbrush video. And I'm talking to that one, you, with the hair in the face, you. All right, thank you. Okay, laid out before you, you see several types of airbrushes. You have 3 minutes to disassemble and reassemble each of these airbrushes, or your family will suffer. Wait, that's the wrong video. Never mind what I just said. All right, the fast and dirty sidebar on the airbrush that I use probably 90% of the time. This is a GSI Krios, which is the same company that makes Mr. Color paint. GSI Krios PS289, 0.3 millimeter, double action, internal mix, gravity feed airbrush with an adjustable trigger, a MAC valve, which for the most part is unnecessary. We generally don't use the effects that you achieve by using a MAC valve. You would use this for like stippling. Most of us don't want, spitting of paint. That's basically what it's going to do. It's not to control the air pressure at the airbrush. That's a common misconception. It's not the case at all. Yes, this is what I use 90% of the time. 0.3 millimeters nozzle and needle pack is able to deliver the metallic paints that I tend to use on bodies. It handles, straight up colors without non-metallic paints very well. If I were to use something that has a larger flake in it, I would probably go to one of my other airbrushes that has a 0.5 millimeter needle and nozzle package. But like I said, 90% of the time, this is the airbrush that I use. It atomizes well. It's really easy to clean. It's easy at this point for me to troubleshoot it, and like if something's going wrong, I know pretty quickly what's wrong with it and how to fix it, and I can get it back up and running in about 5 minutes. I can strip down this airbrush, clean all of its parts, and get it back up and ready to run in about 10 minutes. The method that I use to do that is not recommended by the manufacturer, and I'm not really in the mood to get into arguments with neckbeards in the comments. So I probably won't do a video on how I clean my airbrushes. But, like I said, you, with the face and the hair, remind me in the comments that I have to do a standalone video about airbrushes and their uses in scale modeling. But, like I said, right now we're building a car. So if you're building a car, you're looking to make the jump from rattle cans to an airbrush, you want to save yourself some problems, go out, find yourself an airbrush that is double action, internal mix, gravity feed, and has a needle and nozzle package anywhere from 0.3 millimeters to 0.5 millimeters. And it's not a necessary thing to have an adjustable trigger, but it's nice to have. You know, it prevents you from cranking back, and you know, you wind up with less runs. I don't use it as often. You know, usually like I'm so used to this thing that I know exactly how it's going to come out when I hit it. So, but save yourself the trouble. You know, a lot of people might tell you, oh, you know, such and such airbrush is the only airbrush you'll ever need. That's not I'm not going to tell you what model to buy, what brand to buy. But what I will tell you to do, and to save yourself some aggravation, is to look for those characteristics. And once again, it is double action, internal mix, gravity feed airbrush with an adjustable trigger. Mac valve, not necessary. If you do get one that has a Mac valve, I would suggest opening it all the way, and then, you know, if you find that the airbrush is spitting and your airbrush has a Mac valve, adjust it one way or the other until it stops spitting. But other than that, it's the best way to go. And again, you with the face and the hair, remind me to do a full video in the future. All right, let's put that aside. I have my little paint chip painted in the ingot silver. Next up, I painted the body on the parts that are going to be ingot silver. They're curing right now, protected from the dust, which doesn't matter. There's going to be dust all over them anyway. That's how my life works. But anyway, when next you see this, hopefully I'll have masked some of this off. I'll put some Kona blue on it, see how it's going to look. Maybe I'll get a red stripe in there somehow, see how I'm going to make that happen with these reds. And then we're going to put some clear on with some pigment in it. Okay? Also, I have to start putting all the parts of the model itself onto fixtures and priming and painting them. So, when next you see me and hear from me, hopefully I'll have more to show you than white plastic with spot primer. Alright? Until next time, my friends, be well.